You're born in New York?
Yeah, I live there. I'm
Nice.
from there.
Nice. So where in Turkey are you right now? I want to go to Turkey maybe this October, possibly, or maybe sometime
I'm
this
in
year. I
like
don't know when.
I'm in the south, uh, in a spot called small city called Finike, but it's not particularly touristy. But there's many places that are hip and
Nice. I
you know
can. You're a
good
little bit
to.
silent, but it's okay. It's okay.
Oh
What's
wait,
on your
sorry.
shirt? What does it say? You froze. You froze.
For peace, world, in the whole world.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. I like that. That's a nice shirt.
Hopefully the audio should be better now.
Yeah, it's a lot better. I'm surprised the AirPods normally work good, but I have a couple
These
articles.
are AirPods. Those are just old, broken ones.
Okay, so you got your new AirPods in. This is AirPod audio?
It is.
Okay,
It is.
yeah, it sounds wonderful. I have a mic. I just need like another attachment for it. I'm gonna get the attachment tomorrow, so I'll have a better microphone. But
I need to
hopefully
get
it
a real
sounds good.
mic.
Yeah, I
Need to get a
have
real mic.
these wireless mics, but it needs like to have the little transmitter. I
Yeah.
can put it like that, but it needs like the little transmitter for the bottom part.
Yeah.
But yeah, you live in the city, New York City?
Yeah.
How do you like that? What do you think about the new mayor that might win?
He went to my high school.
Really?
He's
He's
yeah.
way older than you, though.
Yeah, he's about he's 33, I think.
Yeah, he's
right?
10 years older
How
than
old is
you,
he?
basically.
Yeah, 9 years about.
Yeah.
He's I mean, it's exciting, obviously. I mean, in many ways, even if you don't like him,
I
it's
wouldn't
kind
use
of
exciting as the word. It's terrifying. For
It's
me.
not that terrifying. It's
I
there's
don't know if he'll
there's
win, though.
no.
I will say I
It's
saw a lot of Democrats going to his meeting, and they're like saying like, "Fuck no, this guy's not like representing the Democrat Party. He's like he's a communist."
that was a knee-jerk reaction at the beginning, and there still is.
No, I still think a
Still
lot
is.
of people are saying that.
Well, okay. No New York mayor has ever won higher office in history, and the reason is there's a few reasons. One is because of rampant corruption. I think we have some of the highest, you know, um, rates of corruption cases in state politics. But the other is that New York politics is like a local. Actually, New York City, it's very localized, so you can't translate it easily to national issues. So Democrats, I think they should embrace him more. But I understand, especially since he likes to call himself socialist, communist, because in New York, especially with the base that he's really turned out young people, that's like not a slur anymore. Uh, but the truth is he's not. Um, and so Democrats nationally don't want those words associated with them. So I get the hesitancy.
Shout
But
out to my favorite avenue, Madison Avenue. I will say
Madison,
I love New York City, and I do agree with his sentiment. Like I agree, it's kind of fucked up. Like New York costs so much money. Like you can easily find a one bedroom that's 3,000, 4,000 a month. Yeah, I agree with some of the stuff that he says. Not all of it, most of it, like 80 to 90% of the stuff I disagree with. Like I do agree that there's a living crisis in New York City, and I do agree that the prices are insanely high. But I don't think the way he's going about it is going to help it. Like he's saying, like a $30 minimum wage. That's going to make McDonald's workers make $5,000 a month. Literally, I know some
no.
people that like save lives
Well,
and stuff like
actually,
that, and they don't make $5,000 a month.
a lot of McDonald's workers, if they work full time, might make that if you include benefits, because
I
McDonald's
mean,
can't afford that. They cover college expenses, they cover workforce training development programs. They have money to. They're not. You're not going to get a $30 minimum wage in New York, and he can't do that unilaterally. even if he got
I
it,
know a lot
like
of the
even if
Democrats are even saying all the shit that he's promising you guys, he can't even deliver it. Like that's another whole issue.
well, no,
And yeah, they
he
might be
can
getting it
deliver.
in
He
benefits, but 5,000 a month for a McDonald's worker. I mean, I can look it up. I have my computer right in front of me, but I think I looked it up before.
well
Like the
that
average
depends on how
McDonald's
many.
only makes like I think about $1 million, $1.5 million a year. That means they'd be paying their employees minimum. If they had 10 employees, that means they'd be paying $500,000 a year. Like that cuts into like half of their profit. Then they have to pay for ingredients and all that shit. But how do you feel about that thirty
You're
dollar
not going to
minimum
see it.
wage?
You're not going to see a $30 minimum wage in New York, and that's not one of his major proposals. Some of his major proposals are actually feasible. The stuff that he centered around that they're feasible because they're not, like, for example, busing. To get the buses to be free isn't actually that hard because a lot of buses you could just walk on and off and you don't have to pay. So not many people pay already,
I
and
know the
so
same thing with the subway. Not many people pay, and plus, that's kind of just like bullshit, bro. Like, why does it even matter if they pay $2 for
it
the
it
bus? You think
it
that's gonna
matters
save them?
because I found, as I've recently taken the bus a lot more, and I found that there are buses and there are places where you really have to pay, and it does happen to be in places where there's fewer buses. And when you rely, I think there's one bus line alone that carries 800,000 people a year or a day, and it's like, that matters.
I
It's
mean, I
not
get it,
insignificant.
but like, is it really gonna change people's lives? I mean, I get it's fucked up. Like for people that have no
It'll
money, it
change a
helps
lot of.
them. It help like if you
It'll
have no
change a
money, you're
lot.
trying to go to a job interview. Yeah, it'll help
Think
you.
about
But
it this
like,
way. Think about gas prices. Think about how crazy people, Trump and people react when gas prices nationally go 30 cents lower on average. It's like, end of the, like, we won,
yeah,
everything's
that's
crazy.
because like
For New York,
20,
for New
20
York,
cents adds up to like $5, $10 per like time you fill up your
exactly.
car.
Exactly. And in New York City specifically, something like the bus, you have tons of people where that really adds up. So that's meaningful. I mean, I personally, it doesn't matter for me, but I get it. Like, I
I
understand
mean,
it.
I don't really care
Um,
about that. Like for the people in New York, I'm sure it matters. It's not really gonna like it doesn't offend me. I don't like if it passes, cool, like good for them. But like if it doesn't pass,
I
I
will
also don't really care.
One more thing about, and this is about the Democratic Party in general. A lot of the issues he's run on, or the things that he wants to do, aren't exactly left right national split issues, or they're not exactly things that are, Democrat specific narratives. It's specific. It's stuff that's highly localized, buses, or rezoning, or he won 20. He's polling with 20 something% of the conservative vote, which
What
is
about rent
interesting.
control? Chris is asking about rent control.
So with rent control, we have rent stabilized apartments in New York, which we control. The city government controls the rents of, and we have a board which decides how often and how much we raise those rents. And one of his proposals, or one of his key things on his platform, is freeze the rent, or basically, put people on this board that will not pursue aggressive rent hikes for the rent stabilized housing, from the government, at least for the medium term, because Eric Adams and the current government will do that, and so on. And when you add up the numbers, it's like a lot of people that really helps. With regards to rent, so that's kind of like rent control ish. You're not going to see like rent control with private rental units.
Ask
Like
him
a
about what happens if someone's cost goes above the arbitrary amount you can go. And Chris Proud
what
said wrong. It's a set amount per DM. It can go up
Wait, set amount of what?
per I think unit or per apartment. He's a landlord and an eviction attorney. He's like a landlord and eviction. So he like specializes in landlord, and he's all for the subsidies. Even though ironically, I think that if there's more subsidies, he's gonna have less clients. But he's all for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I do economics. I understand housing a lot, and I'm personally, if you want to go into rent control and stuff like that, I understand
Like
all of the
5% per
problems.
year. That's how it typically goes. I'm just reading the comment. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I understand a lot of all the problems with where you go with rent control. But the stuff that he's done or the stuff that he's proposed is like triage type stuff. Like freeze the rent because you have a lot of people currently being priced out of houses. The bus stop is temporary. So I think he's going to bring some relief probably to people who really need it the most. Structurally, we'll see if he can do anything meaningful. But
5% a year is an increase is insanely high. That's higher than the national interest rate increase. What the fuck? Yeah, I
five
agree with
percent
you
increase
there.
in what?
I think it's a lot smaller than 5%, but I could be wrong. But if you guys have any questions, comments, anything you want to ask us, you can drop a super chat. But also, I do want to, like, we can talk about this for a little bit more, but I do want to talk about the whole gender affirming care. Like you said, oh, Democrats don't want that, yada, yada, yada. I mean, I have a couple articles right here. And I mean, of course, I'll pull up the green screen in a second. But House Democrats, this was in March 31st, 2025. House Democrats look to expand access to gender affirming care amid Trump crackdown. More than 24 House Democrats are looking to protect and expand the availability for gender reaffirming Care Act for transgender youths and adults as Trump's administration takes steps to sharply curb it. Now, like, obviously, I'll show you what's currently going on. Like, Trump passed an executive order basically banning transgender reassignment surgery for minors. And I know the next thing you're gonna say, oh, they only get top surgery and they only take hormones. Well, I have another article here that says completely different. It says gender affirming bottom surgery for minors is extremely rare, which I can agree. I mean, in general, it's extremely rare for like minors to do gender reassignment surgery, but it does happen in the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, in the last 4 years alone. But it is typically
But
reserved for adults. But with these guidelines, they're recommending them for the patients to be at least 15 years old, and it varies state by state. And there are cases. There's even celebrities that I can talk about where their kids have gotten like gender bottom resurgence surgery. Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade. Why do you care? Because I'm not a disgusting fuck that wants children to be like, mutilated. I think this kind of shit for children is disgusting. Even hormones, even if they weren't getting gender like bottom surgery or whatever, even if they were just getting the top part done and they're taking hormones, I think that's fucked up. Now people try to argue, they say, oh, hormones are reversible. No, I think you're wrong, because when you start taking drugs or hormones before you're fully developed, we can look up articles about that too. It stunts the growth. It's fucked up. And like you said, you claimed what I said was completely false. I can pull you up articles on articles of multiple Democrats and people in the Democrat Party. The first one I quoted was from congressionalequalityact.gov. And I can send you the link. There's more articles that I can send as well. But this was 24 Democrats in the House that they were trying to expand access for gender reaffirming care amid Trump's crackdown. Thank God that Trump got his grimy hands on it before they could. But saying that Democrats don't support cutting off little kids' penises is a blatant lie, because like it is a fact of the Democrat Party. I know you don't have to support everything the Democrats do, just like I don't support everything Trump does. You can still like be a Democrat or a Republican or a MAGA, but I'm like saying that the Democrats don't push this kind of shit is just a lie, because I mean it's not only the local government, it's the House, it's the Senate, it's in every single part of the government. The Democrats support cutting little kids' penises off. And yeah, we can say this about this Democrat or this Republican, that Republican. Oh, maybe they're PDF, maybe they're not. Until we have photo images or video images or conviction, like I said before, it's innocent until proven guilty. I don't believe in calling someone a PDF file, even if they did creepy shit. Like, I can pull up tons of videos of Biden inappropriately touching and sniffing children, but I'm still not going to call him a PDF file because there's no conviction and there's no proof of it. So, I mean, we can't just like say, oh, just because Biden was sniffing kids or just because you think Trump is on that list or you think he did something with kids doesn't mean that he's a
Well,
proven
we know
PDF.
he's in the files.
Huh?
We
Well,
do know
maybe
he's
he is
in the
in the files.
files.
Maybe he's not. That doesn't prove PDF activity. What we do know is Bill Clinton is the prime suspect. And trying to put blame on someone and trying to put guilt on someone when they've never been tried in a court I think, is very wrong. Like that's just the blame game. That's just saying about all these accusations and crimes this person did, that person did. I mean, we can go all day and talk about, oh, what
You just
if
called
a
Bill
crime
Clinton a
this
prime
person did?
suspect.
Huh?
You just called Bill Clinton a prime suspect.
He is a prime suspect. It's all over the news.
Yeah, and with Trump, people were calling him suspect.
Yeah, he is a suspect too. But to say he did something and it's confirmed that he did PDF activity, that's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, to assert that,
The reason Bill Clinton is the prime suspect is because he hung out with Jeffrey Epstein a lot more than Trump did. He invited Jeffrey Epstein to the White House 17 times. He flew on Jeffrey's jet 27 times. If you check the jet, if you've ever read through the jet logs, Bill Clinton actually went to that island. As far as the jet logs say, I'm not saying this is proof that Trump didn't go to that island, but if we're looking at the jet logs, Trump just flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane from New York to Florida, and his entire family was there. And the jet logs say nothing about Jeffrey being there. So that's another thing. So you really think you're going to do PDF activity when you have your entire family, kids, wife, everyone there, and Jeffrey isn't even there on the plane? I mean, we can look it up ourselves. 27 trips that Bill Clinton took. But you have anything to say about your claim that the Democratic Party does not support cutting off kids' penises or gender reaffirming stuff?
Yeah, I have a lot to say. I'll begin with just to preface. You're underrepresenting the evidence of Trump and Epstein.
Well, what evidence did I
Bill
underrepresent?
Clinton. You didn't talk about you said why would he do it with his family around? We both know that their relationship over a decade long, that there were all these events and all these things that they were. We know that he was hanging out with Epstein as well as the victims. That they threw
and
parties.
What did the victims say? Funny thing you mentioned the victims. One of Jeffrey Epstein's victims that worked for Trump at Mar-a-Lago, the one that Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago for, that exact victim. We can look up the evidence. I have my computer.
He didn't kick her.
He
didn't kick him out for that.
Multiple sources say otherwise. You're going to say it's a business deal over real estate. Multiple sources disagree with you.
But those sources, you can't name those sources.
Yes, sources, I can. I have my computer right here. We got one person saying it was over a business deal. We got maybe 3, 4, or 5 people saying it was over the worker that worked at the spa. And that girl that worked at the spa, she worked for Trump at Mar-a-Lago. And then Jeffrey Epstein, took her away. Trump kicked him out. And Jeffrey Epstein, victimized her. Whatever happened to her happened. It was really unfortunate. She was a minor, but she was still old enough to work at a spa. And before everyone out there says, oh, why was he working at a spa? Well, first off, she wasn't a masseuse. You got to be 18 to be a massage therapist, a masseuse. So there's other jobs at massage parlors, like mopping the floor, receptionist. There's more than being a masseuse. So I just want to put that out there before anyone in the Democrats
read the job posting. Read the job posting
for. I believe she was 15 or 16. Sorry.
Read the job posting for the Mar-a-Lago spa in 2000.
How do we have a job posting from 2000? What's your source?
I mean, it's literally an image of the posting. That can be
photoshopped and faked.
Yeah, it was, and it's also not damning. It's basically they wanted girls that were in their 20s. But the point is that's not the evidence against him. And the girl you just cited, you said he kicked him out for that.
Also, that's not even the main evidence here. This is where the evidence gets bad. So this same girl, she was in the charges. She's one of the girls that brought charges against Jeffrey Epstein. One of the reasons he went to court in 2006, 2007, her name was listed on that.
Yeah.
Her name was listed on that. And she publicly said in 2024, she was a victim of Jeffrey Epstein. She worked for Trump. She publicly said, I hope Trump wins the election. We need Trump as president. So does that sound like a victim that hates Donald Trump's guts? No, that sounds like a woman that loves Trump that got victimized by Epstein and Trump did nothing wrong.
Yeah, it's okay. A few things. The evidence you're leaving out, especially the person you're referencing, we know he didn't kick him out because he, took Ghislaine not Ghislaine, Virginia Giuffre, because she started, she got recruited by Ghislaine and Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein was still, and several years later, Trump was still praising him and saying he was his friend. The quote about how he's his closest friend.
What are the timestamps on this?
The timestamp is she was recruited in what was it, 2001, when it was, let's see, in 2000. And in 2002, we have the New York Times, or not the New York Times, the New York Mag interview where Trump's calling him an
Where did you
amazing
get that
guy.
source? It was from 2000 because I never heard that before.
Oh, she worked at the spa attendant in 2000. I assume she was 17 in 2000, so I assume that she was probably, yeah. Let's see. I can.
By the way, there was an entire book that talked about this, about how Trump kicked Epstein out. This was long before anyone was screaming about the Epstein list. This is another piece of evidence.
What book is this?
Well, I just found this on CNBC. It says, hold on, let me turn off my green screen. Here's the article on CNBC.
Yeah.
Trump banned Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago after accusation that sexual accusation that criminal hit on member's daughter, book claims.
Yeah. The year was 2018, right?
For what? The year he kicked him out, or what?
No, the year of this book.
I'm looking for it. Also, it says she was 14, not 17.
It was 14 when she moved there, or she went there, started working, and
no, it says the victim from Mar-a-Lago was 14 years old. What did Chris say? Good point,
no, yeah,
Ozzy.
in 1998,
Homeboy is
right?
a SA abuser,
No, yeah.
not a rapist. You guys done on the silliest hills. Well, first off, you're also talking about what's her name? Jean O'Carroll. She accused 14 other men of it. And also, we can get a direct quote from Jean Carroll. Some woman might consider grape sexy. Does that sound like a victim to you?
What?
It might sound like a victim, but it sounds like a deranged woman at the very minimum.
What? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah, I double checked it.
I did read your super chat.
It was 2000. 2000 was the year that she was recruited. And
what's your source?
This is on the Britannica summary. They're citing, I'm pretty sure this is public knowledge.
I'm still looking for a summary. Who the hell is the Britannica?
Britannica is
Here's
just an online
PBS,
site.
the facts of the Trump falling out timeline.
No, just look it up. When was she? I mean, but that was the age that she was. Look up her age.
I'm looking
at 2000 was when she was.
right now.
She was 16 in 2000. That's when she was recruited. We know this.
Trump claims the last time he spoke with Epstein was in 2004.
Yeah, that's 4 years after Ghislaine was recruited. She was 16 when she was. No, not Ghislaine, Virginia Giuffre. She was 16 in 2000.
I'll look it up. Virginia
Roberts is what her last name changed to Roberts, I think. 2000 was when she was 16 and recruited.
Year.
That happens. 2 years later, he's saying, when she's already 18, 19, he's saying Jeffrey's a great guy. He likes women on the younger side. I've known him for 15 years. A year even after that, Trump writes another book, Art of the Comeback or something like that, where he talks about his mysterious friend Jeff, who's like Elvis, where people don't even have to use his last name. It's like a
Be back
and
later. Grats on 13K. Thank you, bro.
and that very girl, Virginia, in the documents was cited as saying she was hanging out with Trump and Epstein, and Trump was flirting with her. She
Well,
was a
obviously,
child.
calling a woman beautiful or nothing like that is nothing sexual. You can
No,
flirt
but no, but
without being sexual, just so we're all
no, but
clear here.
no, you can flirt without doing a crime or being sexual. But if you're flirting with the girls that are being trafficked with
Why
the
did that
trafficker,
girl wish for Trump to be president in 2024 if she was a
probably
victim of
because
Trump?
no, I'm not saying she was a victim of Trump. I'm saying that with regards to you brought her up, it's more evidence that he was there, knew that he was into younger girls. His story about kicking him out is not true based off of her.
Multiple
It's
people
just
have
not.
confirmed the story is true.
No, most of people, the people who have name these people, they're friends of Trump. It's just not true.
It
We
is
know
true.
it's not true. It's been
Then why did he
Trump's
stop
own.
talking with him in 2004? Explain that. Over
That's
a real
4 years.
estate
That's 4
deal?
years. That's 4 years later.
I'm not sure if this was even the same woman that
That's
Epstein
the
tried
woman who
to
was.
steal away from her. He
That
never
was the
said the
woman who was
woman's
taken.
name. That
No, but she was taken. She was taken from the spa.
yeah, she was taken, but he
In
never said the
2000.
certain woman that he
No,
kicked her out
he
for.
but he said it. No, but he said that he kicked him out for doing this.
Yeah, but
We
he
know
didn't
he
say it
did
was
it.
Virginia.
But it doesn't matter if it was Virginia. We know he knew he was doing this in 2000 for years.
How do we know he was doing this? Doing what? Stealing his employees?
Taking girls out of the spa. He took Virginia.
She was a stolen employee. But I'm still trying to find a year that he kicked them out. And just because he kicked them out of Mar-a-Lago doesn't mean they didn't have phone calls here and there.
What? And no,
just
and that's
because
the thing
you kick
about
someone out of your business or you kick someone out of your place doesn't mean that you don't have a phone call here and there with them.
Yeah, so Trump and Epstein were probably friends longer. But the thing is, reason you can't find
2004. Either way, none of this is proof of any crime or any actual deviancy of any kind.
No, that's not proof of a crime, but it's proof that his story is a lie about when he kicked him out and why.
What is the story a lie?
His story is now he kicked him out because he was taking people.
I still haven't got a source or found myself what year Virginia Roberts got picked up by Epstein. I googled it.
Look up. Literally, look it up. Look up her age.
No, I looked it up. I said, when did Epstein pick her up? I don't see any sources for it. Like I said, I don't see any sources of the year that Epstein took her out of Mar-a-Lago, quote unquote. I'm searching through Google right now. I'm on
Fine,
page 2.
I'll get you a source.
I don't see anything. Either way, you're still yet to defend the whole thing with the gender reaffirming care that the Democrats don't support that. The Democrats do support it. I gave you 24 Democrats at a federal level. I can give you more on a state level.
What you just did is a Mott and Bailey. Support gender reaffirming care versus cut off kids' penises.
I mean, it's the same thing.
No,
not
that's like
all
saying support.
That's like
saying support second.
Gender reaffirming. I'm against all of it. It's all mutilation to minor children. But there's a lot of them that do cut off their penises. If they're going to get this surgery, then wouldn't they go through the whole thing?
No, it's illegal. You cannot
have. It's not illegal.
Have.
That's a blatant lie. It's legal in California. It's legal in Oregon. Here's the article right here. You want to get quoted?
It is largely illegal in most of the country.
It goes by state to state. It's illegal in Florida, but it's not illegal in Oregon or California.
I'm talking about bottom surgery for people
it's not illegal.
That are kids.
Here you go. Look,
for kids under 12.
Read this. Kids under 12. I don't know about that either, but it's recommended.
That's what
the guidelines are recommending. It's not a law. These are guidelines recommending to be at least 15. It's not a law, so please. Read this.
No, and there's a reason. Close. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that, and there's a reason
15
that you'll see
is a minor. You should be 18 and older.
But there's a reason for this has nothing to do with politics, and there's a reason you'll see that in red states too. That's because if you were to ban this surgeries that have to do with that, most, if not all, of the cases we're talking about where people that are kids have the surgery is because they're born with an issue. They're born
That's
either
incorrect. They're
like
not
literally they come
unisex.
out.
That's not why they're getting these surgeries.
No,
Dwayne
yeah,
Wade's kid did
look,
not get this because he's unisex.
no, but listen, if you were to outlaw surgeries that changed, that bottom surgeries that are in any way that had to do with genitalia, you would screw all intersex, but not, or people with even slight abnormality.
It's already banned.
It's an executive order is not
An
a
executive
law.
order
that
can
could-
be changed. It can be changed much easier than
It can be
Congress
changed, but
passing an order. But
an-
as of now, this is an executive order.
an
They
executive
cannot do
order
it
is not
anymore. They will go to prison.
an executive.
And if
An
you are
executive order
authorizing
doesn't.
kids to cut off their penis or authorizing kids to take hormones that stop them from developing in puberty, I think the parent should be arrested. It's disgusting and it's despicable.
But
When you're
people take
12 years
hormone.
old, even if you're 15
But
years old, doesn't matter if you're 16 or 17 years old. I think you're still too young and dumb and your imagination is too wild.
no, but okay, but you're talking about banning treatments or surgeries because of a one reason that people do them, even though there's
I
medically
know about
necessary
intersex
reasons.
people. I know about natural deformities. If we look at the people with natural
And there's also
deformities
no, and
versus
there's
the
also
percentage of transgender
no, but
people,
there's
it does
also
not align.
no, and but if you look at the percentages and statistics on bottom surgeries for kids, they're non-existent. Like look it up. Like out of the
I did
treatments
look it up.
for
I just showed you. Look,
how many, yeah, how
watch
many
this.
bottom
Look at the
surgeries?
Google. It's rare,
No,
but so is this surgery in general rare.
no,
Look,
but
read
how many?
this.
How many? How many?
I don't know, probably thousands, but here.
Well, okay, you gotta give a source for that. Like
Even
you're
if it
asking
was
for a source for
one is too many. Wouldn't you agree? I
no,
guess
but
not. But look,
no,
at
no.
first
If
your first claim was it doesn't happen. Your second claim is it's
no,
rare. So which one is it?
no. What I'm saying is, if it was one, if there was only one case in America for bottom surgery,
That's not
that
true.
would that no, it's not true. I agree with you. Because we know that there are also tons of people that require it for medically necessary reasons. It's not just
That is
intersex.
less
It's
than
not just birth.
0.005% of the population. The transgender population
No,
is
no,
like
no, 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 no.
100 times higher.
You're right. No,
And
you're right.
minor
You're right.
children,
No,
mind
no, no,
you.
no. You're right. No. You're right. Exactly. But if you take that percentage, that small percentage, and you multiply it across America, that's still going to reach you thousands of people. And so you're still
So
always going to
thousands
see.
of people
You're
got
always.
this. Thousands
You're
of
always
people don't
going.
have abnormalities where they need this. Even
Yeah.
if you're a minor, even if
Across
you
the entire
have like
country,
both parts, I don't think you
babies
should
come
be
out.
deciding that until you're
We
18.
have Janus twins. Like there are people with two heads. Like
Yes, I get
yeah.
all these abnormalities. What's your point here? Your first claim was that gender bottom surgery does not happen. Yes, it is extremely rare and typically reserved for adults, but there's guidelines recommending it to be 15. Yes, but that is not a law. It does happen. It happens. I love how the Democrat Party says, "Oh, this surgery, there's no
No,
such thing as bottom surgery for minors. There's no such
no. But
thing." There is though.
recommendations for one from one source is not the same. Does not mean there are no laws from other authorities. So
Let's see
there
if we
are
can pull
laws
some
on
more
this.
statistics. I'll
And
see what I
if
can find
I'm
here.
waiting for any, because again, even if you assume if you assume that
Look,
people who are
here's
intersex who have
California. You can't say that it doesn't happen. In California, minors seeking affirming bottom surgery require parental consent, and such surgeries are rarely performed. Yeah, obviously, it's rarely when there's millions of children in California. Of course, the statistics say rarely, but it
no, but rarely,
happens
but no, but
too often.
no,
It
but
happens, though.
no, but
Some people claim it doesn't
you
happen at
don't
all. Like Chris Proud, he's an attorney. He says this never happens. He says it's not legal. He says it's not possible, which is a blatant lie.
function. It actually functionally in California. You think how old do you think of what if you're 12, you can just go to the doctor and have your
It doesn't say any age restrictions. It says if you're under 18, all you need is a parental's consent to it. You want to know about the actual numbers? Are you curious? Take a guess. How many? I have the numbers right here, by the way.
For bottom surgeries?
Let me read this. Let me scroll through this. Okay, this is not what I thought it was. Let me try to find another article. But yes, Chris is the main thing I'm trying to argue here that a lot of people like Chris seem to say, and it's sad to say that because he's literally an attorney. He's a lawyer. He should know that in California, minors seeking bottom surgery require parental consent, but they do happen. Bottom surgeries do happen. And saying they don't happen is a lie. There's literally celebrities that are letting their kids chop off their dicks. Dwayne Wade, he let his son chop off his dick. His son said, "Dad, I'm under 18. I want to chop off my dick. Can we move to California?" The mother said, "No, we should just wait until you're 18. The dad said, all right, son, we'll do whatever you want. Let's go to California and chop off your dick." And that's what they did. And I think Dwayne Wade should be in prison for that. By the way, they don't require parental consent if they don't even live under the parents' roof. Like if they're runaways, they don't require parental consent. And even if the number is 100, I think the number should be 0.
Let me get two things right. One, Dwayne Wade's kid got a bottom surgery.
Yeah, look it up.
And when was this?
I have no clue. Maybe in the last year or
two. Because Dwayne Wade's kid is 18. So if
it happened, before they were 18.
Well, if it was when they're 17 in some places, that's where you're an adult. Look, I'm just saying. Second,
well, then why did they have to leave Florida and move to California to get their penis chopped off?
It wasn't just to get a penis. No. They could have moved on their own. They could have went there for a procedure and come back.
No, that's not the story that happened.
No. But I'm saying they didn't move there to get a penis chopped off. Like that's ridiculous.
That's literally the story. That's exactly what the story is.
No, that is not the story. That's like saying, Republicans, are interested in politics because they want a pedophile or a person in office who's friends with pedophiles. It's like, what? Like you could pull that together.
No, that's what Dwayne Wade's son said.
I know what Dwayne Wade and their, kids. I saw Dwayne Wade talk about this once, and it's not about a specific procedure. And look, those procedures are important, so it makes sense. It's about way more. It's like if you have a kid who is gay or who is trans, they're going to have way less rights, have way more persecution.
Way less rights. What rights do trans people not have? Tell me. They have the right to cut off their penis. They have the right to vote. They have the right of freedom of speech. What do trans not have that we have? Please tell me. I need to be educated.
They lose in practice, they don't have certain equal protections rights.
Like what? Give me one.
Persecuting or discriminating against them. Persecuting or discriminating. I can. Persecution
they have
or
more
bullying
rights than
or
us.
discrimination.
Trans can cut their penises off, but we can't drink alcohol. We can't smoke cigarettes. They have more rights than us. They can harm their body, but straight people can't.
You can get plastic surgery if you want to get plastic surgery.
Plastic surgery is completely different than cutting off your penis. But go ahead, say your point. What was your point? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
there's a difference between
what rights do they not have? I'm still waiting for that part.
Well, it's about infringements on certain rights. So, like equal protections.
What are the infringements on their rights? I'm waiting.
Equal protections.
Okay,
you can't go to them.
What protections do they not have?
No, equal protections mean in terms of equal application of law. So you'll get discrimination.
Equal application of law. What laws?
No, you'll get discrimination against trans people.
You get discrimination against white people, black people, Asian
in law.
People,
No. By law, no.
Man, woman.
Not interpersonal. I'm talking about. I'm talking about legal. So military. You can't join the military for trans.
That's because they're delusional, and that was newly passed. That's the only thing you can think of because it was newly passed.
Look, think about what you're saying now. you're just calling them delusional. So when you
And
talk
by the
about
way, they can join the military. All they got to do is this: say, "I'm not a woman. I'm a natural born man. Can I join the military?" Boom, they can join the military. The only
okay,
thing
but
stopping them from joining the military is admitting their natural born gender. That is not discrimination. That is delusion. When you don't want to admit what your
people,
gender is,
people do
then you
admit
shouldn't join it.
people when they fill out if you're a trans person and you're in the military or you're filling out medical information, you are writing out your biological sex. There's
Okay,
a
then you can
difference
join
that
the military as long as you don't tell them that you're
they're not
delusional
lying.
and you're
Like
trans.
people who are trans aren't lying about their biological sex. And there's this
Some
whole
of them
idea like
are.
on
Some
the
of them
right,
go out there to
you know,
trick men and try
there's
to
this
sleep with them.
there's oh my god, there's this idea on the
It's
right
true.
that somehow transgenderism is the idea that you can change your or biological sex or hormones. Like no one's denying that you biologically you're born one way and then
I
you
mean,
can
they say they're a
transition in certain
woman.
ways.
They don't. A lot of them don't say, "Oh, I'm a trans" or
But
this or
that
that.
comes
They
from
just say, "I'm a woman." Some of them do
but
say
they
that
say
they're
woman.
trans,
They
etc. It varies
but they
by
say
person to
woman.
person. Let me
But,
read this.
you'll
Sorry to
say woman,
interrupt
but
you. Go ahead.
you won't see female. And the fact that you won't hear them say one instead of the other is an acknowledgement of the distinction that there's one is a gendered representation and the other is a biological description. And you can have different feelings about whether or not that's you agree with that as a thing that you want the
No, I
society
don't
where
agree
there's
with that.
you know and you don't have
Dutch
to,
study
but
showed
that's
90% of the kids on block are medically transitioned. 80% of the kids that go through puberty resolve their gender dysphoria.
yeah,
Dutch
those
study showed
studies.
90% of the kids on puberty blockers medically transition. 80% of the kids that go through puberty resolve their quote unquote gender dysphoria.
Yeah, if you could
What do you
send the
think
study,
of
that'd be
these
helpful.
Dutch
But
numbers? These are Dutch scientists. Don't you believe in science?
I mean, yeah, if you send the studies, I look at them. But I've gone through these studies on this subject, and the studies that that say these numbers, that say stuff about regret rates, are horrible. And that's not a part. It's not in like a partisan political way. They're just like they constantly get retracted. They constantly get pulled back and so on. They're just riddled with methodological and just ideological bullshit.
It's
In the same
logical.
way,
When
and
you're 14, 15 years old, you don't make decisions for the rest of your lives. If you make a decision for the rest of your life at that age,
it's
you are
lot.
probably going to regret it. Doesn't matter if
It
it's
sounds
changing your gender. It
logical.
doesn't matter if you're, you know, marrying someone, etc., etc. You know.
It sounds logical, but it doesn't sound logical. The idea that something so fundamental will just change, like take being gay. Like if you were to say you can grow out
Gay
of
is
being gay
different.
with
I don't agree
puberty.
with LGBTQ either because trans people are very different than gay people, and a lot of
No,
gay
no,
people
but
don't want to be grouped with the trans community.
no. Listen, but saying that someone can just grow out of gender dysphoria, or and so on,
Yeah, when
is
you're
like saying
14 and 15 years old, your brain isn't fully developed yet. Just like when
is
you're
like
14 or
saying
15, you can
is
feel
like
like you're
saying
depressed, and then
it.
when you're an adult, you feel fine. So
That's
yeah,
just like
you do
saying you
grow
can.
out of a lot of the stuff when you're 14 to 15. You can like
No,
cars when
but
you're 14, then when you're
but
20, you change your
people say the
mind.
same thing about sexuality. People say the same thing about sexuality.
I mean, yeah, people that I'm not, people, it is true about sexuality. You can experiment when you're 14, and when you're an adult, you say, no, I don't like any of that stuff. I figured out that I was straight. So, yeah, the same thing is true.
Yeah. So there's some fluidity. You will see some fluidity, but it's also true that for a large section, and look, you'll see a lot of people, and you'll see more people who think that they're gay when they're younger and aren't, because you'll see more people experimenting as more people get more progressive and left wing, even though they're not. But the crucial point is there's still a huge amount of people who are, or it doesn't have to be huge, but people who are actually gay, who will not grow out of it. Just like there
Yeah,
are
there
a lot
are,
of people
but I don't believe in gender dysphoria.
who are
I
actually
have
trans, or
gender dysphoria is a mental illness, right?
people used to, people call being gay a mental illness
No,
too.
but I'm
It's like
saying like this is how the transgender community define gender dysphoria. Do you think it's a mental issue, or do you think it's the same as like a mental health issue, or how do you classify this? This is just a question.
It presents mental health issues. It is a mental health issue in many ways, and trans people will acknowledge this. But it also is, and it is a
Isn't a mental
fundamental
health
part of
issue
who.
though something that you can't change no matter what?
It's a mental health issue to the extent to which it presents issues with your life, and most of those issues come from conservatives and people who want to attack trans people
No, I don't
and
want to
hate on trans
attack
people.
trans people. I'm just trying to prove a point here. I don't give a damn. Let me get one thing clear. I don't give a flying fuck if you're trans. That's completely fine with me. The only place where I draw the lines at is when you're trying to push your sexuality on the children, or when it comes to, minors cutting their penises off, taking hormones, puberty
But again,
blockers, castrating yourself, hormonally. Yeah, I'm heavily against that. But the one thing you still haven't managed to defend you is, the initial statement that kind of started this debate when I said the Party supports cutting off minor children's penises, which is a part of gender affirming care, and that's the shit they push. You still haven't been able to debunk that, because that is indeed
I
something the Democrat Party pushes.
yeah, I can, because
You can't, because it's true. So you admit that
no,
I
they don't
got you
push.
on there.
No, they don't push cutting off kids' penises.
But
Like,
they push
find me
gender
one.
reaffirming care. That's the same thing as pushing
No,
letting kids cut off their wieners if they want.
wait, what do you mean push gender reaffirming care?
They push it. They push
There's a
it to be
difference. No,
legal in every single
there's a
state.
okay, but that's the thing. Defending the legality of something is
That is
different from
pushing
pushing it.
to change the law to make gender reaffirming legal. Should we look up the
No, no,
definition of push?
no, 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 no. Of course, of course. Yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up is because a lot of the stuff you're saying spread, homosexuality is transgenderism.
I never said
All this stuff.
spread homosexuality or transgenderism. I said they're trying to push gender reaffirming care and at every single state and at a federal
And
level.
those words, I think, were in the first message you said that I responded to.
I said they're
But
pushing kids to cut off
push
their
gender reaffirming care.
penises.
Push gender reaffirming care is different from protecting the rights of people to receive
They
gender
would have
reaffirming
to
care.
have that right to begin with, to
Yeah,
protect
people
it.
do have those rights. People do
No,
have
on a
those rights. That's
state
why
level, a lot of states do not
that's
have
why
these
you that's
rights.
no, but that's why you see
14-year-olds don't have any right to cut
no,
off
but
their
that's
penis.
no.
They're
That's
not
why
adults.
the reason you've seen a bunch of Republican states pass laws restricting gender reaffirming care is
No,
because
it was never a thing in the first place. They just making
that's
sure it doesn't happen
why do you
there.
think they're passing these laws? Why do you think he's signing these
No, they didn't
orders?
have to pass a law in Florida. We never had it. I don't know if there's a law in
They
Florida, but
passed
we never
laws
had it.
across the country addressing this. And you wouldn't have to do that if it wasn't a thing that happened.
Yeah, but it
Because
wasn't happening in Florida beforehand.
it was happening. It's been
No,
happening.
it wasn't. It's against the
Yes.
law.
You're saying there was no people who received gender reaffirming care
No,
before.
they need to push this shit to be able to let it happen. That's the whole point I'm making.
Push this shit. No, they don't.
You want me to
The
show you
people
the
who are taught?
article where the House representatives try to push a federal level gender reaffirming care for everyone? Because this is how I kind of started off this live stream by showing you that.
But again, that's defending rights that exist for people across the country and that are being
Minors
active.
don't have the rights. Minors have no rights. Did you know that? Minors can't vote. They can't drink. They can't. Most of them can't drive cars unless they're old enough in
Minors
that
do have
state.
rights too. They don't have no rights. They have rights. If you're a
They don't
minor,
have
you
the
have the
same
right.
rights as an adult. That's a lie.
Yeah, but they still have rights, and one of the rights is the right to health care and the right to
What right to health
make.
care? They're not even old enough to get their own health care plan. Their parents have to do everything for them.
Yeah, but if they don't, the parents will get in trouble because the kid has a right to health care.
No, you don't get in trouble if your kid doesn't have health care, if you can't afford it and you can't get Medicare or
but if you're negligent with health care, there's a difference between not affording it and purposely
don't
not
get
giving
in
your kid health.
trouble for your kid not having health care. I don't know what you're
No,
talking
but
about.
you can get in no, you can get in trouble for refusing to provide healthcare to your kid if you can. That's his negligence. It's like people who let their
No one gets charged with that.
some people do. Actually, there's a famous case just a few years ago or a year ago of a mom who convinced her daughter to stop cancer treatment
Gender
because of
reaffirming care is not health care.
gender reaffirming care is literally healthcare.
It's not health care. Health care is something that keeps you healthy and keeps you alive. Cutting off your penis hurts you. It doesn't keep you alive. If it helped you, they would do it without sedation. They would just say, here's some scissors, Timmy. Cut off your wiener. Cut
That's
off your
not yeah, but
tits,
again,
Sarah. Here you go. Here's a pair of scissors. No.
you say that
It's
you're
not health
creating fiction.
care. If you once the minute you say it's healthcare, that's basically when you're saying our taxes should fund gender reassignment surgery. No, you should not be able to cut your penis off with Medicare or
Okay.
Medicaid.
Answer me this then. If Democrats are the people who's pushing this and the bottom surgeries, off the top of your head, can you name one thing Joe Biden has done legally to enforce or promote or push bottom surgery for kids?
I never said Joe Biden. I said at a
He
state
was the head of the
level.
Democratic Party for the past 4 years.
I can look it up, but I didn't say all
But off the top of your
Democrats.
head,
I
you can't
said
even
a
you
majority
can't
of
think of a single
Democrats
thing.
at a state
You
level and a federal level.
If I could go down the list of Democrats, ask me and say, can you name one thing they've said or done
You
on
missed me? I
this?
don't know you, Ethan. I don't remember you.
You won't be able to if you did it with Republicans and
No,
presidents
many
and Trump.
Republicans disagree with this guy. They're rhinos.
No,
There's
no,
all
but
kinds of people out there.
no, but my point is, you're saying they're pushing this, they're doing this,
I can look
but
up if
but
Joe
you can't.
Biden pushed any
But
transgender
you can look
reaffirming.
and you should look it up because if you're saying this stuff and it's just not
But I
true.
never said
It's like
every Democrats. I says the
no,
Democrat
but
Party
you're
as a
saying the
whole.
Democrats, and I'm telling you, and I'm like
There's always an
the
exception
Democratic
to
Party.
every rule, brother.
But this is not the exception. This is the
That's
Democratic,
like
the
saying
mainstream.
every Republican, is hates
The,
trans and yada yada. I don't hate trans. That's
the
not
president,
true.
the Senate, the House, like that was the Democratic Party. Like
I mean, I can name
you
you
are
a way that Biden pushed transgenderism, but it has nothing to do with gender reaffirming care.
yeah, but that's the thing. Like the Democratic Party, you're not going to see like if you have an issue
Oh,
with
he
a
actually did.
local.
Here you go. I just found it, by the way. If you were talking about Joe Biden as example. Biden signs an order to protect transgender children as Texas continues to put efforts to restrict gender reaffirming care. So he doesn't
Yeah,
let Texas make their own decisions. He passed a law that didn't let them. There you go, bingo. You said, "Oh, Joe Biden didn't do it." I just found the article. The Texas
no, but again,
Tribune.
think about what you just said. Joe Biden is not the reason it was happening. It was allowed, and then Texas started trying to infringe on it, and so Joe
No,
Biden
people were trying to push it on
passed.
Texas, and Texas said, "No, no, no, no."
People were trying to push it on Texas.
People were trying to do this shit in Texas, and Texas said, "No, we're not allowing it."
Did Texas pass any legislation to deal with it?
Man, it was a
Because
week
look,
ago. That hurts. Wait to be a current
bec-
age, though.
because the
I
thing
kind
is
of starting to
that
remember you a little bit more, but
there's Biden signing an executive order or bill in response to something in Texas is not him pushing
it
transgender or
is.
bottom
He
surgery
pushed
on the
something.
country.
He's pushing. He doesn't let Texas make their own laws. He's saying you got to do what I want you to do. You got to let those children cut off their wieners if they want to cut off their wieners. You just said he didn't do anything to push transgenderism.
Defending people's rights is different
Surgeries
from
increase rates of the unalived, not decrease. That's a fun fact. Who has high rates of offing themselves and unaliving themselves? Would we like
surgeries
to look
have
into these numbers? Would you say?
hearts. Yeah, I mean, heart surgery has people die from heart surgery. It saves lives. Like, no one
Yeah, the
people aren't
difference is
dying.
this surgery isn't needed.
People aren't dying from. Maybe someone has died, but
I'm not even saying from the
trans
surgery directly. I'm saying these people in general have high rates of unaliving themselves.
and are those rates higher or lower if they
They're
get
higher.
reaffirming care? They're
They're
lower.
higher.
They're lower. We could
Here's a
do an
fun fact.
evidence.
More than 40% of the trans adults in the U.S. have attempted to off themselves. The UCLA School of Law, Williams Institute, 40% of them. That shows you it's a mental health crisis. That doesn't show you that they're like regular people. This shows you that they have a mental health issue.
No, there is a mental health crisis affecting people who are trans. Definitely. Like if you are
Because they
someone
are
who has
mentally ill.
people said this about gay people forever.
No, not many people say
Alan
this
Turing had
unless
to
you're
kill him.
ultra right wing. No.
Yeah, up until a few years ago,
Gay people
that was
don't have a higher rates of offing themselves. Statistically, they
in
do
a lot
not
of
have
the.
a higher rate.
I think a lot of in a lot of countries and in a lot of U.S. history they have.
Well, not currently.
And actually they do. I could just
No,
say I
we'll
know
look it
this
up.
from the statistics on youth suicide in the U.S. If you are gay and you live in a red state, you are 4 times or 25% more likely to kill yourself than if you live in a blue state.
No,
And if you are
it's
gay,
not even based on states. That's retarded.
that
You
is a
want the
fact.
comparison? You want the comparison?
That's
15% of them have attempted to off themselves. 40% of trans have attempted to off themselves. That shows you that
yeah.
trans have an extreme higher rate of mental illness. Why don't they just go gay if they want to be a woman so bad? They don't have to cut off their genitalia.
Maybe the question answers itself. People, because they actually feel the way they do.
Let me in this.
If it,
No way they are higher because that's because of society view on gender. This is actually science based on this. Well, I don't know what you mean by that, but you have a mental choice. When you think of rights, here's how it is. You can be born black, you can be born white, you can be born Indian, you can be born Turkish. Yeah, that's something you're born with. Transgender, even if you're born gay, you might not like women, but you can like a woman. It is a choice. Same thing with transgenderism. You can tell yourself
no,
you're a
no,
natural
no.
born man. You might not
Sexuality is
like
not a.
it. You might not like it, but you can do it. You
No,
might
that's called
prefer being
pretending.
gay. You might prefer
That's called
pretending to be
pretending.
a woman, but it's a free choice. You can't
No, no,
you
no.
can't choose if you're born black, Indian, white, whatever. That's not a choice. A choice is you
Okay,
can
but
choose to be with a man or a woman. You can choose to cut off your genitalia. You can choose to say that you're a woman. That is a choice. That is a
no.
choice.
This is sexuality and gender is how you feel, not what you do. If you are a gay man married
No,
to a straight,
gender is not a
if you are a gay man married to a straight woman, you are gay. You are not
How the
straight.
hell are you gay if you've never done
You
anything
are
gay
a
in your
beard.
life?
If
What
you
does gay
feel
mean? You think a
attracted to men,
man's handsome?
it means you have sexual or intimate feelings for men, romantic feelings for men.
What's a
If you feel that
romantic
for men, and
feeling?
romantic if cortisol and oxytocin levels raise, if your pupils dilate, it's like feelings of intimacy, feelings of want. I'm not going to define love, but everyone knows what it's like to be attracted to someone. If you have a crush, you have someone you're into. If that person is the
Gender
opposite, if
is
the
your
same sex,
sex.
gender, no. The reason there's different words is because they are different
It's
things.
because of the
They are
liberals. 50 years
no,
ago, there was no such thing as being a dog or a cat. Is that the kind of shit you believe
actually
in?
no.
Serious
There have
question.
been there have been
Transgenderism is
third.
one level of delusion, but do you believe people should be able to identify as a dog and a cat and a frog? And because that shit
No,
is
that's not.
truly
No,
delusional.
yeah, that's not. But that again, that's not what transgenderism is.
No, I'm
That's
not saying that, but I'm talking about the gender spectrum. Do you believe there's like hundreds of different genders? You can be a cat, you can be a dog, you can be a
no, but
frog.
those aren't genders. Those aren't genders.
They say they're
That's not.
genders.
No,
Liberals say I
people.
identify as a dog. They tell that you
No,
ask them what's your gender.
that is
You
not
say
a
I'm a
liberal.
dog.
No, saying liberals say I identify as a dog is like me saying conservatives say they want to kill Jews. Like there are conservatives who've
We
said that.
love Israel. No, that's ridiculous.
Like there are conservatives who said that. Not all MAGA supporters are not.
Okay, they do say
But
that. Some of them do say that.
But that doesn't. But for me
just
to
like
say
there's a shit ton of liberals that say genders can be anything. There's a spew of genders. There's 1,000 genders. So how many genders do you believe in? Since you don't believe in this, I'm curious.
No, but genders are not gender as a spectrum means there's not a predefined number, and
so
it doesn't.
You can be anything you want.
No, but no, gender is different from species. They're just different words. They're different categories. Like
Ethan, if you want to hop in this debate, drop a $25 super chat. Well, so what do you think? How many genders are there? You're telling me there's a spectrum of genders, but I can't be a cat, a frog, or a dog?
No. Gender is a social construct to represent how we represent ourselves in society.
So anything can be a gender.
No, things are gendered. Like language is gendered. You have, mankind in Spanish. You'll end with ed or es instead of.
All I'm trying to figure out is, can I be a frog if I'm a Democrat? Can I be a frog?
No, because that's not gender. That's species. Like that's like a trans species thing. Like that's furry shit. That's not trans.
So how many genders are there? Can you tell me how many genders there are?
There's not a number. There's two. Okay, I'll give you this. I'll give you probably a better answer than most people can give you. There are two widely agreed upon. There's two. Let's say there's two main genders.
Do you have Discord, Ethan? Join the Discord so we can get you in here.
There are two established genders, but there exists a spectrum in which people can fall, beyond, in between that. There's intersex. There's people who are born with genitalia both, and different parts, and so it's kind of confusing. Those are rare, but it happens. And there's also people who born with set of genitalia that does not match how they feel in their head.
So how many genders? 17, 55, or 2? I think there's 2 genders. I'm still waiting on a number.
I think you could say there's 2 genders with the spectrum between. With this, or with the spectrum of, there's 2 genders with the spectrum of variability.
I'm still not getting a definite answer. I don't know how. Can you please educate me?
Because we both agree that there exists intersex people. If there's only 2 genders,
3 genders. Is that what you're telling me?
No, but intersex isn't really a gender. It's like a kind of, it encompasses a bunch of different things that are
correct. Gender was not a concept, at least by name, until the 50s. Though John Money, if you read Meatzogram, look up John Money. Join, and my name is Ghost. Your name is Ghost on Discord?
But intersex describes gender number 6. A section on a spectrum.
So, Chris, you're agreeing with me. They didn't have this gender bullshit until the 1950s. Alex Jones was right. Our government is turning the frogs gay. So you're not agreeing. You're kind of, you're going right wing on me, my guy. You're supposed to say there's a million genders. You can be a cat, dog, frog, furry, anyone you want to be.
No, because that's not gender. That's species. Like if
you say gender isn't sex, so what is gender? It's how you feel?
No, gender is a representation of. I mean, the definition you'll get online is.
It's full of shit. I've seen the definition online.
I mean, the literal definition of gender is.
How can I get IB touch for the debates? You got to join the Discord. But you have to wait in line, or if you want to debate right here, right now, you got to drop a $25 super chat. But we're still going to debate for a little bit longer. Not by name. Look up Johnny Money for real. Better or worse? All right, let's look up Johnny Money. I think Chris is on my side on this. He's a Democrat, though. But I don't know if he's on my side or not. Archaeologists have never unearthed burials that suggest transgender or third gender. What do you think about the archaeologists? You know, when they dig
I
up
think that's
bones, they don't say this guy was the third or fourth gender.
you can't see someone's
You can't see
behavior
someone's gender by their bones. Scientists disagree.
no, well, gender as opposed to sex. You couldn't tell if someone is transgender necessarily based off of their bones
So you
because that's
can't
something that
tell their gender by their bones.
no, not always. Not for the you
What
can you
about
can
the
get it for a
big
99.
birth-giving hips of a
You
woman?
can
That's
you
not a
can get it.
gender.
What?
The big, hips, the birth-giving hips of a woman.
Look, you can say with basically 100%, near 100% certainty. But it is also the case that there are people in history, all throughout history, who have been third genders. It's just, and you won't see that from bones. You'll see that from written texts. You'll see that from witness accounts. You'll see that from visual descriptions of documents of the time. And this stuff goes back to like Mesopotamia.
Actually, by the way, Chris was 100% right. Look up a guy named John Money. Money advanced the
I
more
looked this.
accurate terminology for sex research. He coined the term gender role and sexual orientation. Despite widespread popular belief, Money did not coin the term gender identity. Money pioneered drug treatment for sex offenders to extinguish their sexual drives. So all this weird shit basically comes from a guy named John Money.
You know what?
Host, explain the difference between sex and gender. I think they're the same thing, but this guy tells me he won't tell me how many genders there are. And when I tell him, can I be a cat, a dog, or a frog, he says, no, that's not a gender. That is like an animal or some shit, whatever he said. He said the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
genders
That's
I can be is male, female, or some kind of variation of intersex or some shit like that. Am I right? Or what were
are
your
you asking me about
stance?
this guy?
John Money, are you reading about him?
Yeah, I'm reading the same thing you are.
I'm
He
on
seems to be.
Wikipedia.com.
Yeah, he seems proposing, advocating for drugs for.
He was the same guy that made this bullshit about, oh, you can be all these different genders, is the same motherfucker who was selling people these drugs so they can change their gender. Oh, isn't that great?
No. It says he was help pushing drugs for people in prison to
I'm not on
inhibit
your role
urges.
side per se, but role has defined gender in a succinct way. I accept that gender is a social concept, so in that way, I agree with him. I don't agree with that, Chris. If you think gender is a social construct, does that mean I can be a cat, a dog, or what? I'm still confused. If gender is a social construct, why can't I be what I want to be? I want to be a dog. I want to
Because
be a cat.
that's species.
So what are my
Social
options then? Some Democrats say I can identify as a cat or a dog or an Apache helicopter. What are
no,
my
no.
options for gender? How can I identify?
It's how you do identify it. Presumably a male. If you feel
Well,
like
what
a
if I
guy, then you're a
identify as a
guy.
frog? Is that my new gender?
That's not a gender though.
So what
Like even if
options? How many
if you
options do
were
I
a
have for
frog,
genders?
if you were a frog and you identified as a male frog, technically you would be you wouldn't be pretending to be a woman.
So
You'd
there's
just be
only
pretending
two
to be a
genders or what? I'm still confused. What genders can I identify other than man, woman, and intersex? What's the fourth one?
well, there's intersex. Intersex is a range.
Yeah, either intersex people lean more male or they lean more female.
No, I agree. And look, and we can say
So
that
then
those
you're saying there's only intersex male, intersex female, male, and female. So you're saying there's four genders then.
you could categorize everything into male, female, and intersex slash non-binary.
What the
You could
fuck is
categorize
non-binary?
non-binary means same thing as intersex. It means you are not fully one or the other.
But most intersex people are either male leaning or female leaning. They have more developed
Yeah,
female parts and
that's what
male parts.
non-binary is similar thing. It's same thing.
I don't
You're
think the
not fully
Democrats would
one.
like you saying that. I think they think non-binary doesn't mean that.
Non-binary means you don't fit into fully into one or the other. It doesn't mean you're off
It
in a
says not
third
exclusively male or female.
Yeah. It means you're not fully one or the other.
So there's
You're somewhere in
5
the
genders now. Are there any more genders I need to know about other
no.
than
There's
these
only
5?
There's only really 3. If you want to say that a gender, everything that's in between is one. There's male, female, and
So
there's in
there's 3
between. And
genders. There's not 5. There's 3.
I wouldn't call non-binary or intersex a gender.
So there's 2 genders then.
You could argue there's 2 genders. It's a semantic thing.
Okay, so we're on the same page. There is 2 genders. I believe in
But
intersex.
people who are
I'm not that
who are
delusional. I know intersex exists.
no, but people who are trans aren't. If you're a guy who or biologically male, but you identify as a trans female, you're not that's still one of the 2. You know, the trans people that a lot of the stuff is going after, they're still fitting in the binary. You know, woman female, biological female comes a man, so on. We're not going off in the other.
So here's a very common Democrat response to genders. Based on this, Chris, I should be able to identify because I feel like a dog or a cat. So let me read what Chris said. He said, I cannot communicate my thoughts through super chats, but broadly, gender identity corresponds on how someone feels along the array of human expression. So I can identify as an angry, non-binary person. You said it's how emotions feel. But I can't identify as a dog or a horse or none of that stuff. Just let me know, Chris. Can I identify as a horse? Feelings have nothing to do with reality. I still don't know what's the difference between sex and gender. What the Democrat Party is telling me is it's based on feeling.
I can tell you this.
Needs to distinguish gender dysphoria from identity to square the circle.
I can make this a clear distinction with an example. You wouldn't consider, so let's talk about, you could take one thing that's gendered, language. No one would say that to say mankind versus womankind, that has anything to do with penises and vaginas. We're just talking about an expression of a word which, we say mankind because we attributed the success to men more than women in a large way.
We use man. Wait, we don't contribute to it. The majority of society has been built by men. There's no arguing or debating that. That is factual.
Because it was also oriented around men. But yes, look,
because we have bigger muscles, we have more energy, we have more power.
But
we are physically dominant. There's no debating that.
Still, but still, the construct of language is still social. It's a social. We literally socially construct our language, and so when you gender language, you don't gender the language because of genitalia. You gender it for other things.
But I can't gender my language for intersex people other than using the word non-binary. I can't other than saying non-binary. I can't say non-binary over there, I guess. Instead of saying her over there, I can say non-binary over there.
You can say that person. There's a lot of...
Seeing yourself in the wrong body is objectively mental illness, gender dysphoria. This isn't debatable. 100%. I said it was a mental illness. He seemed to get a little bit upset about that. But you want to know why I don't think it's a mental illness, Chris? Because a mental illness is something that you can't change. I've asked you this before. I said, isn't a mental illness something that you can't change? You
can change a mental illness.
I think you can to a certain extent. Yeah.
And I think that's part of why it's not.
But identity isn't necessarily gender dysphoria. So, okay, I identify myself as a dog, but I don't have gender dysphoria. That's
true. But no. The dog thing again. No, that's species.
Damn it! I'm mad because some Democrats say I can identify as a dog.
And some Republicans say that,
Israel's in a good place. Yeah, I get it.
Well, I mean, that's a bipartisan sentiment. But, I'm talking saying Democrats say this, Democrats say that.
What if I
is
don't
like
identify as a person?
But that's still a person is a human.
You cannot change your mental illness. Okay, Don said it. Add me, I'm in.
Major depression is a mental illness. People get, radical, you can do ayahuasca or,
And that'll get rid of my
electroshock, or
depression.
there are people who have had depression
And you know what
cured through
gets rid
those
of your gender dysphoria? All you gotta say is this: I'm a man in a man's body. Boom! Wow, gender dysphoria just ended. Wow,
That's the
holy
logic.
shit.
That's the logic behind that. That's the reasoning or the logic behind sexual gay conversion camps, gay conversion therapy.
No,
Is that
because you like a man or a woman. That makes sense to me. But what doesn't make sense to me is that you think you're a woman. You think you're a woman and trapped inside a man's body.
it doesn't make sense
I
to you
am a
because
lesbian trapped inside of a man's body. So effectively, I'm straight. I just go like the long ways around.
it doesn't make sense to you because it's foreign. You haven't had that experience. You can't imagine what it's like. I can't imagine what it's like to have schizophrenia. It's hard to
No,
even
I can't
depict.
imagine what it's like. I can't imagine what
No, it's
both of
hard.
those
No,
things are like.
you can't really fully imagine it. It's hard to, and so you can't say, oh, it's just kind of like
Trying to say you can change a mental
different from
illness is a
sexuality in
lie.
the
You can
sense.
only treat your mental illness. That's what the chat's saying. Well, you can change gender dysphoria, so doesn't that mean it's not a mental illness?
Actually, no. Your brain grows until you're 25. It's still grows a bit after that. People when they're young can grow and change. Things that are mental illnesses can be attributed to things that can be fixed. Like you could deal with like I'm not gonna get into that, but transgenderism or so on, you can call it a mental illness if you want and classify it as that, and fair, but that doesn't change how we address it.
You
In fact, it
cannot
only
grow out
make
of autism.
sure, but just because if it's a mental, if you want to call it a mental illness, that only makes it more of a
By the
reason
way,
to
Ethan, I'll
support
be with you in a few more
healthcare,
minutes. Just be patient.
healthcare, treating people like human beings. You don't go around to people who have dementia or dissociative personality disorder and be like, call them out on everything that they don't know or remember because of their mind state, and then view that as an effective treatment. Like
That's because they have a real mental disorder like schizophrenia.
But a real mental okay, but so is it a mental illness or is it not? It's like
Schizophrenia, yeah, it's a mental illness.
being trans. Are you calling it a mental illness or not?
I mean, that's what I'm asking you. Is gender dysphoria a mental illness? I don't think so.
I think it depends. It can be.
These people do with Biden. They do what with Biden? People with mental illness are used as lab rats by pharmaceutical companies to this day. That is a fact. It doesn't what? Make fun of his illnesses. Lol. Do you have gender
Someone
dysphoria,
said
bro? I'd love to make fun of you.
intersex is so rare we can't count it. Lol. Just like bottom surgeries for you.
No.
Then give me
Bottom
some
surgery
give me
is
give me some
way more
counts.
common than intersex.
Give me
huh?
some counts. Give me some counts.
The thing is, it's hard to get counts because why would these numbers be reported?
They're
You
reported
blue
because you get
balling
them
me?
through.
Give me 5 more minutes or give me 25 more
They're
bucks,
reported.
please. We're having a great discussion right
They're
now.
reported for legal reasons.
What do you want to talk about so badly, Ethan? What are we going to be talking about? Tell me what we're going to be debating on. That's what I want to hear first. Vape ain't helping, dude. Making it worse. Is he vaping or who's vaping?
Can I give you some? You want to finish with some Epstein? I have some Epstein stuff if you want to hear it.
Oh my God. We already said about Epstein. What do you want to say about Epstein?
I know,
Why
but
are you shaking your camera like that? You good,
sorry,
bro?
I'm on a rocking chair. I have I have a personal
Connor,
story if you want to hear it.
drop $20. We'll get this caller off.
I have some personal stories if you want to hear them.
Personal stories about what?
Relation to Epstein.
How do you have personal stories relating to Epstein?
Because I grew up in New York and my parents were in those circles. And so
All right,
know
Ethan. I appreciate it. I'll get you on here. Give me 60 seconds. Go ahead. So you grew where in New York? They knew Epstein? Your parents knew Epstein?
my mom, I mean, she knew Ghislaine more, but yeah, these people were around. And she knew Trump. My parents went to Trump's wedding. Epstein was there.
I
These
need to
people
see a
were all
picture of
around.
this. Your parents met Epstein?
My mom did. I don't know about
I
my
can't
dad.
lie. That is fucking terrifying, bro. I had a bad dream about Maxwell yesterday. I mean, 2 days ago.
Yeah. And everyone knew that there was something wrong, like horribly wrong. Or people at the time,
They said this guy is full of
Ghislaine,
shit.
well, they would go around to dinner parties and stuff. And Ghislaine was seen as his kind of a pimp, not necessarily for underage people, but definitely for girls, like for young girls. That's why he was so into modeling. That's why he's so into these fashion things. And so that was the reputation. And Trump was fully his buddy in those things. He was fully connected to that.
So
And
Trump was a pimp, is what you're saying.
no. It's that Trump and Epstein. And there were a few other guys who ran modeling agencies.
Google
that were these-
Israeli offender. Last thing I'm going to look up, if you guys have any last questions or super chats before I get Ethan on here, I will get Ethan on here. This will be an interesting one. We'll do. If there's anything else you want to say, you can go for it. But I'm going to show this Israel essay offender.
Look, why do you think Trump is so, subservient to Israel beyond money? I mean,
every single president is subservient to Israel in the last 60
but
years.
but he's extra so.
But who gave Israel the most money in the last 60 years? Joe Biden. So how do you explain that? Numbers don't
I
add
could
up.
explain that by the war, by the invasion.
By the war. But for Trump, it's because he's best friends with Epstein. That's why. But for Biden, it's the war. Why didn't Biden release those files if Trump was on them? Guys, Chris, I don't see anything about them being released. All I see is this. I don't see anything about the government official being released, Chris. I Googled it, and all I see is on Las Vegas, The Guardian. All I see is I don't see anything about him being released. Look.
Those files weren't even all.
This is what I typed in, Chris. He got released to Israel. I believe it, but I don't see it on Google. So how do I know if it's real? Yeah, I don't see it on Google anywhere, my guy. All right, Ethan. I think it's Ethan's time to come in, but I appreciate you coming on. This was a good conversation. We should do it again sometime.
Of course.
But enjoy your time with.
No worries.
Enjoy your time in Turkey.
Appreciate it.
Even though we disagree on stuff, you're still a funny and interesting guy. I appreciate it.
Likewise. Okay. Peace.
All right. Peace out. I don't know, Chris. I still think we should be allies with Israel. I just don't think we should pour money like so much money we do into them. Ethan, I'm going to be checking on Discord for you now, all right? Everyone in this live stream, wait for the next live stream. We're going to have, part 2 of this transgender talks. A lot of the shit he was saying was weird. Yeah, I agree. Ethan, you want to drop a $20 more super chat to show your support to the channel? I'll give you as long as you want live on my stream. But regardless, we're going to get you in because we're a man of our word. I'm a man of my word. Let's see what the comments are saying. Let's keep our money here. The funny thing is, Chris, that's another thing you disagree with the Democrats about. The Democrats don't want to keep our money here. They want to send it all to Ukraine and Israel. They want the war to never end. They want us to win every single. You could be win every single one. All right, Ethan. I'm gonna log off. I'm gonna give you a certain amount of time, but if you drop a $20 super chat, unlimited time, my guy, unlimited time. They are bot too. What do I think of the Putin meeting? I think it went extremely well. All right, Ethan, your time to shine, brother. Your time to shine. We're gonna get you on here. Drop me a comment. Just say, hey, I'm ready, and we'll get you on here. You're in the Discord already. Say, hey, I'm ready in the Discord. I'll get you on here. What do you mean by that, Chris? You like what Donald Trump did with Russia? Chris, you gotta watch this next one. I'm curious to see how off the walls Ethan is. Ethan, no ad hominem, no name calling Ethan, none of that old bullshit. There's no logical reason to be upset, yes. Well, I'm not gonna go in on you right now, Chris, but a lot of the shit you say isn't 100% logical. All right, though, let's continue. I hope you all will join in on the next live stream. We're going to get Ethan in here now. All right, Ethan, I'm coming. I'll be back, guys. Make sure you hit that notification bell. I'm going to set up for the next live stream. Peace.